and Nick.
Welcome to That Superhero Thing podcast, where we discuss the latest superhero and comic book movies and TV shows. I'm your host, Nick, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Anthony.
Hello.
You alright?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you?
Good, I'm good. We're excited to talk about Loki, finally.
I know. I'm glad it's finally come round. It feels like
yeah.
it's been ages.
It does feel like it's been ages since we did... What was the last one? I was going to say WandaVision there. It has been ages
Falcon.
since we did WandaVision, to be fair. But yeah, been ages since we did Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So we've got 6 weeks of this now. We finished the countdown, which was good. I enjoyed that. Maybe not Thor: The Dark World.
No.
But it was, to be fair, it was a bit of a laugh.
Just having the chance to watch Ragnarok again made me happy, to be honest.
Any excuse,
Yeah.
And to be fair, and do you know what? Endgame and Infinity War
Yeah.
are always good to go back to as well, aren't we?
Amazing.
So we finished the countdown. We're on to the proper... I was going to say, what, takeover? Yeah, that's what we're calling it, isn't it? Takeover. I forgot what we were calling it. Yeah, we'll call it the takeover. So we're on to the proper takeover. So we're going to start, obviously, with episode 1, because we've only seen episode 1. We're not one of those lucky few who've been invited to see episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, well gutted.
I'm assuming that...
Let me down, Disney.
Do you know what? I haven't checked my spam folder in the emails.
No.
It must be in there.
Maybe.
It probably is in there. So we're going to do episode 1, which is called Glorious Purpose.
That's like the 2021 version of Lost My Invitation in the Post, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It must be. It
must be in my
spam. So we're gonna do episode 1, which is called Glorious Purpose. Before that, as usual, we'll do this week's comic book movie news. So there's quite a lot to go through. We've got Black Panther, What If, Spider-Verse news, She-Hulk news. There's a couple of bits of She-Hulk news now.
Yeah.
Another bit came through today. DC, we've got Shazam, The Flash, Aquaman news, and then Marvel DC, we've got The Boys, Matrix 4, and Masters of the Universe, aka He-Man, because a new trailer dropped, and that was boss. And then, as I said, after that, we'll do the season premiere of Loki, and then after that, as usual, we will be doing Podfans Assemble, where we talk about your theories and thoughts on the first episode. So we'll put timestamps in the description, as we always do, so if you want to skip past any part of it, like skip past the news to go straight to the review, you can do. There will be spoilers, pretty much all the way through, even with the news, like bits of speculation we probably won't get right, but we might do, because
never know.
We'll do it one day. And then obviously, next week we'll be on to episode 2. So news then. First couple of bits of news with Marvel. So She-Hulk news. There was a couple of bits actually. So firstly, there's an actress working on the show called Anais Almonte, I think it is. I'm really sorry if I just pronounced that completely wrong. She's posted some set photos to Facebook of her alongside Mark Ruffalo on set. We knew he was going to be in it. I feel like we knew.
I don't think I knew. However, I don't find it surprising that he's making appearances.
No.
Because he, not sounding harsh, but because he hasn't had his own... Mark Ruffalo hasn't had his own film. I know Hulk has had his own film, but Mark Ruffalo hasn't. I think kind of...
Any excuse to gag on someone else's.
Yeah, he dips in on everyone else's, doesn't he, to just get some airtime. So I don't blame him.
I can see him on the phone to Warner Brothers. Like, Batman, I'll be in Batman. We can have a crossover. I'll do that. I'll just do anything.
But he was in his element when he had to wear the Iron Man.
I know,
the massive suit,
like something else to do other than paint his face green. I can see him. Do you ever watch Arrested Development?
Yeah.
With it where Tobias used to roll up to things and just paint a blue open it. I can just see him, Mark Ruffalo rolling up with his face painted green, just to like anything. Just
I bet he was well peeved throughout the film when every time he was asking Hulk to come out, he's going no. Green for 3 seconds and then gone again.
Oh no, yeah, gutted. So he is in it.
Yeah.
We don't know. Obviously, we know who he's playing. He's going to be playing Hulk, unless they're going to throw in a complete curveball, and he's going to be somebody else. But we don't know we still don't know what the story is. There were some of the set photos look a little bit like you can see what they're filming in the background, but it's really blurry. It looks like he's either doing a conference or a book signing, because there's like a big banner behind him.
Yeah.
With
a book signing would make sense though for his character.
Yeah.
Because of the selfies and stuff like that in Endgame.
Yeah. And he's selling his story now.
Yeah.
Like how I defeated Thanos and all that, because he just claimed
me, myself, and Hulk.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. That'll be, you watch Disney, listen to this. That'll be it now. That'll be that'll be the Disney Plus series. Hulk's Disney Plus series, me, myself, and Hulk. A bit more She-Hulk news that came out today, because we're recording this on, what day is it? Friday. We're recording it on Friday. So the Illuminati are reporting that they've cast the villain. So I think you pronounce it Titania. So she's the main villain in the show. And it's going to be Jamila Jamil.
Oh, no way.
Her. Yeah.
I love Jamila Jamil.
So most people listening, particularly in the US, will know her from The Good Place.
The Good Place. We know her from T4.
T4.
Yeah.
T4 on Channel 4.
When she used to present.
On a Saturday morning, doing the music
Did
show.
she do Sundays as well? Because I'm sure she did the Hollyoaks Omnibus.
I don't know.
Because I'm sure that's when I watched T4.
You know that in far too much detail.
I know that.
Like, I remember what day she did. But it's weird. I find it weird. I like her. She's a good actress. She was good in the... I've not watched The Whole Good Place, but
I've watched all of it, and she's brilliant.
She was good in the first couple of series that I watched. I don't know why I stopped watching it, but she was good in that. I just always see her as the presenter from T4, so it's hard to watch. But yeah, hopefully she'll be good in this as well. Apparently they're going to change the character a little bit, so I don't know much about Titania, but in this she's going to be, it says, a Kim Kardashian-esque social media influencer with a dark side.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if I like that, because it feels like, I don't know, it just sounds a bit...
Let's make it modern.
It does sound a bit like let's make it modern and a bit gimmicky, but I think, again, we always say this, trust that Marvel are going to do something well, don't you? We've got a bit of what if news, again, from the Illuminati. So they reported a couple of weeks ago, or last week, some story details for some of the what if episodes. So they talked about the Party Thor episode. So they got a new bit of info this week on the Black Widow episode. So they're saying that in the Black Widow one, it will be in a world that Ultron won the Battle of Sokovia, and he's basically ruling the world now, and all the other Avengers are dead, and it's basically her surviving in like a mech suit or some sort of armored suit. So that'll be interesting. It's a bit... I like the fact that they've picked her to survive, because not like slagging off Black Widow, but
girl's got skills.
Thor and Hulk have died apparently,
yeah,
and Black Widow's the survivor. It'll be good though, because it's more, I say, realistic.
Thing
it's
is,
about
though,
a robot that's
as
taking
much
over
as
the world. But
the difference with Black Widow is that she wasn't just a good fighter; she was also good at concealing. So she was good at kind of lurking in the shadows in a way. Yeah. Whereas all the boys came out just kind of bolshy and trying to kick ass, didn't they?
But it's more entertaining if you've got somebody who's not... I mean, if it was Thor who was the only survivor, he's just going to blitz through all the robots. In
it'd be boring.
It's a bit of a challenge, isn't it, for her to be surviving. So that should
be
good.
a bit like Terminator, won't it? With thingy going back into the future.
Yeah, maybe.
So good.
Let's hope they're right with the report, and that is what the Black Widow episode is. To be fair, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness news. So a couple of bits for this as well. So there was a piece of piece of art though that was given to crew members as a gift, because I think they've wrapped filming now, haven't they?
Oh yeah.
So it was a cartoon. It's like a poster. It looked like a comic book cover, to be fair. And it basically shows the main characters all in the new costumes. So you got Scarlet Witch with the sleeves now. Yeah. On a costume. I don't know why. I didn't even notice. A few people had to point that out to me that she had sleeves on there. But more importantly, you got Doctor Strange, because we've talked about it before, that he's apparently going to have a comic book accurate costume. So it does look like he's got that. He's got the Eye of Agamotto still. So I don't know how that's going to work.
No, I don't.
Multiverse version of Doctor Strange? Where
maybe.
It never...
Loki drops one off on his way through. Don't know.
Potentially. I doubt it. Maybe.
But...
I hope we see him in it, though, to be fair. And then probably one of the big bit of news from it is that America Chavez is in the picture as well. So again, we knew she was going to be in it, but the fact that she's there on the front with like the other main characters means probably more than like a little bit of a cameo or an introduction. Do you know what I mean? So that should be good. And then Vanity Fair have done an interview this week with Michael Waldron, who's the head writer on Loki, and he's also helping out with Doctor Strange as well. And I thought this was interesting. He's confirmed that when Scott Derrickson left the project and Sam Raimi took over, the whole script's been completely rewritten from scratch. So, which is good. Well, I like Scott Derrickson. I thought Doctor Strange one was good. But Sam Raimi's definitely got his own style. So it's good that he's been able to start from scratch and just put his own style on it. Yeah, just starting the whole
starting
thing.
Again,
yeah. But I think with a lot of other I think there's certain directors out there who they just need to have full control over it. And Sam Raimi's being one of them. I mean, look what happened when he didn't have full control of Spider-Man 3. Yeah. It was just a bit of a mess. So he needs to have full control over it. Good segue, talking about Spider-Man. It's as if we planned that. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2, The Hollywood Reporter are reporting, like they do every single week, that an actress called Issa Rae has been cast as the voice of Jessica Drew, who is Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman. So classic Spider-Woman with the red suit. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You do know what I mean. Good, Anthony. Well done. So Issa Rae, I've not seen her in anything personally. I think she's bigger in the States.
Yeah, I've not heard of it, to be honest.
So she does a show called Insecure, and then which is on HBO, I think, and then she does a show called Black Lady's Sketch Show, which I think I've heard of in the UK. I think it's just come to like ITV2 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
So again, apparently she's a good actress, producer, writer as well, so she'll be interested to see that. And then final bit of Marvel news, Black Panther news, or Black Panther Wakanda Forever news. The Illuminati, they're on fire this week.
They are, aren't
It should
they?
just be we should just call it the Illuminati news section, because it's pretty much just been them all the way through. So now the report, do you know what, they're knackered if any of this is wrong. If all this is wrong, they're just going to look not good at all.
No.
So they are reporting this week that an actor called, again, I'll try and pronounce it right, Tenoch Huerta, is going to be playing Namor the Submariner in the movie, and he's going to be the main villain. We knew he was going to be in it already, or it was rumoured that he was going to be in it about a year ago.
It's been rumoured for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, since like August 2019, so quite a while, but we didn't know who he was playing. And this hasn't been confirmed yet. This is just what their sources are saying. But he will be the villain, because in the comics, he started off as a villain. He was like one of the very first Marvel characters, I think.
Oh, was he?
And then he eventually became good. So again, that'll be... I'm still a bit uncertain about Black Panther 2. I know it'll be good, but I just wish we kind of knew where it was going at this stage.
Yeah, because it's 50-50 over whether they're recasting T'Challa or not, isn't it?
I don't want them to recast T'Challa. I think it'd fit better with the story, perhaps, as well, if you've got like the king of another... I was going to say island then. It's not an island.
I'm all for... Because we were talking about the sea guy. I can't remember his name. Namor. Yeah. So when we were talking about Namor... I think it was you said something about what if it's King of Atlanta versus King of Wakanda.
Not Atlanta. Atlanta's a place
Atlantis.
in the US.
Sorry. Oh, Jesus.
That's very different. I'd watch it, though.
And then, obviously, if there's a point here where T'Challa's fallen, it's kind of a point of weakness for Wakanda.
Yeah.
So it'd be a good point for them to do that, and maybe for Shuri to rise up.
Someone's got to step up,
as new Black Panther, which I think would be awesome, because obviously she follows him in the comics, doesn't she? She becomes Black Panther later. Yeah.
I wonder whether in the sequel they might go down the route of not letting us know who's going to take over the mantle until the very end.
Maybe.
And have it like as loads of different potential people who could be. I think that'd be quite an interesting move, wouldn't it?
Well, there's people that you could say from the first one that are definitely in the running.
Yeah, and Baku and Shuri and Okoye.
Yeah,
potentially. Yeah, and all the girls.
The other guy, but I can't remember his name because I'm rubbish with names.
Oh, I can't work out who it is from the other guy either. So
we'll
move on.
Who is the head of his army? Okoye's fella.
I can't remember his name either.
But maybe him.
Potentially.
He's a potential.
I think it'd be good.
I think he'd be an underdog, but
I suppose it'd be a good way of sort of, paying tribute to T'Challa as well. To Chadwick Boseman, rather than just and T'Challa as a character.
Just bringing somebody else.
Rather than just having somebody else take over.
Part of the Black Panther family.
Yeah, but also, I mean, like not just having him like 15 minutes in that Shuri is now the Black Panther. Yeah. You could have it so that the film is about them mourning T'Challa, and obviously then somebody else coming in and trying to take advantage, and then at the end we get somebody stepping up.
Yeah,
which I think would be good.
Yeah,
Marvel, do that.
If
you're stuck, just listen to us. We'll help you out. Just let us come to the next. Disney
Let us be your ideas, men.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I can't even remember names, but I'll do it.
Yeah, we'll go in the spam.
Wait till my theory, then you'll understand.
Yes,
why.
You'll realise how good it is, because Anthony has got an epic theory for where we're going with Loki. DC news. So Shazam, Fury of the Gods. There have been a couple of, I don't know, not really leaks, but some set photos and a video released by the director, David F. Sandberg. So JustJared.com and Shazam Updates on Twitter have got set photos of Zachary Levi in the new Shazam costume.
The new suit.
I don't like it. It looks better on screen in the teaser, but it is very, very dark.
Is it?
So that's possibly why it looks
better.
All right. They make a joke
because
I can't see it. Basically, they make a bit of a joke of it being dark in the teaser, but there's just in my opinion, there's just too much going on.
Yeah,
it's like it was really basic in the first movie and it worked.
Yeah,
and in this, there's lines and loads of different textures and. There's I think the lightning bolt on his chest. It's like a lightning bolt in a lightning bolt in a lightning bolt, and it's just like it's just too much going on in my opinion. But
maybe they're trying to release it 3D.
Maybe without 3D because no one's got 3D telly anymore. But again, the amount that they can do with CG. It's like I watched, going completely off topic from Shazam. I saw, which I didn't know. I saw some set photos from Civil War.
Oh yeah.
of Tom Holland in the costume, and the costume he was wearing on the set of Civil War.
Nothing like
no, it's all like raised webbing, really raised webbing. Looks crap.
Yeah,
I like the idea of raised webbing. It doesn't look good on that, but it wasn't even a mocap suit. They've somehow managed to CG over the whole thing. So I suppose if people really don't like, it's crazy, isn't it? But if people really don't like this Shazam costume, then they can change it, can't they? All the way up to release, or after release, like they did with the Snyder Cut. So they can just release a whole new Shazam movie and pretend the first one didn't happen. But they haven't. They're still running with the Joss Whedon one. Flash news. So Andy Muschietti, who is the director, has shared an image of Michael Keaton's batsuit on Twitter and Instagram.
So excited for this.
Have you seen it? The picture?
Yeah.
Good.
The yellow one.
The yellow. The yellow bat symbol.
Yeah. It's very much like the 1980s.
Not the 1989 one. Not the first Batman. Batman Returns.
Okay.
Because it's a slightly different bat.
Wasn't that still 80s?
1992.
Was it?
I think so.
I mean, I was 2, so I
might
remember.
Be completely wrong. That could be. It could have been 1974 for all I know. But somebody will be sitting listening, shouting out a year. Yeah. So that's fine, maybe. But yeah, it looks, again, we knew he was there. We knew he was going to be in it. Yeah. Again, we've now got proper confirmation that he's going to be in it, and he's going to be in the original suit, which is amazing.
Cannot wait.
It is the bat symbol with big like globs of blood on it though, which isn't a bad thing. I suppose it means it's going to be like, I don't know, R-rated. I don't think it'll be R-rated, but a bit grittier. Yeah.
Is it? It looks a bit like the Watchmen. Thing though, doesn't it?
It looks very, very similar to the comedian's badge from Watchmen. So potentially, I think there's been a few people saying, with it being a multiverse movie, could we get Watchmen in it? Which could happen. It's all owned by Warner Brothers, and they've made an appearance in the DC Comics. Yeah. And it'd be a proper F you to Zack Snyder. Because it's like, we're not cracking on with your Justice League, and also we're going to rob your Watchmen as well. Yeah. I would not surprise me in the slightest. A bit more DC news. The most exciting bit of DC news, in our opinion, is that they've released a teaser.
Justice League.
No. We've had 2 weeks without mentioning Justice League now. Without any Justice League news. There are bits of Justice League news still popping up, but I'm just choosing to ignore them because we've talked
it's been done to death.
Yeah, we liked it. We liked the Snyder Cut, but let's
move on.
It's over now. Yeah, let's just crack on with other stuff. So, talking about other stuff, better stuff potentially. DC Super Pets. Shut up! It's going to be brilliant. So they've released a teaser. You don't really see anything. You just see Crypto flying around with his cape, but it's basically announcing the cast. So we knew that Dwayne Johnson was going to be voicing Crypto. Yeah. We find out that Kevin Hart's going to be in it. Yeah. Voicing Ace. I don't know who Ace is.
I don't know, but I love Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart's brilliant.
He's going to be a chihuahua, isn't he?
That should be it. Yeah. He's got to be. No, like a massive, like a huge bull mastiff or something like that. Just have him as something like that with Kevin Hart's voice, but make it slightly.
It'd be like Up. You know when the dog's voice recorder things break?
Yeah.
And the Dobermans are talking to high pitch.
Yeah, do that. Like a big Doberman or something. So we got the rest of the cast as well. So we've got Kate McKinnon, who's brilliant. We've got John Krasinski. We've got an actress called Vanessa Bayer, who I don't know who she is. We've got Natasha Lyonne from American Pie and Orange is the New Black.
Was she in American Pie?
Yeah.
Oh, don't remember.
Unless I'm talking about the complete wrong person. Natasha Lyonne was in it.
Yeah, but she's been in Orange is the New Black and stuff.
Yeah, she's been, and then
she did her own Russian Doll.
Yeah.
I was about to say Victorian Doll, and I knew that wasn't right.
No, it is her from American Pie. You made me really doubting myself, and I was sitting there thinking, shit, I'm going to have to edit this out. We've got Diego Luna from Rogue One and the new Andor series as well, and then we've got the legend that is Keanu Reeves. I don't care who he's voicing. The fact that he's in it is amazing.
It needs to be a beagle, and it needs to be John Wick's dog.
Yes.
That's got to be the rule.
That would be amazing.
And they're all shit scared of him.
Are these shit scared of him or the fact that he's John Wick's dog?
The fact that he's John Wick's dog.
Yeah, that's fine.
No one will mess with him because they know John Wick will come
John
from
Wick, the boogeyman will come and get him. That's fine, yeah, run with that. And then last bit of DC news, we've had it announced kind of by James Wan on Instagram that the title of the movie is going to be Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Oh. So we've got a title now, not just calling it Aquaman 2. I think it's out December next year, December 2022.
What is the Lost Kingdom, is there?
It's, I think from what I've read, it's like an even deeper city than Atlantis called the Black City, and it's like just like
they're going to the trench again.
Another, I don't know. I've not seen Aquaman 1. I I know. I run a comic book podcast and I've not seen Aquaman 1. I started watching it on Amazon Prime and fell
Ladies
asleep.
and gentlemen, I've watched it.
Anthony's seen something again.
Again.
We are in the multiverse, people. Anthony's seen it and I haven't. Moving swiftly on then, before I get embarrassed. So, non-Marvel and DC news. We've got Matrix 4 news. It's a superhero. He is a superhero. Neo's a superhero.
I mean, it's Keanu Reeves, so I'll allow it.
Doesn't matter what it is. The boathouse. If there's a boathouse number 2, we'll talk about that because it's Keanu Reeves. So it's been revealed by Warner Brothers in a press preview kit that, or they've announced the full cast. Most of them we already knew. Somebody I didn't know who was in it, Neil Patrick Harris. Apparently he's been confirmed to be in it for ages, so that'll be interesting. But also Christina Ricci has joined the cast, who has not been in anything since Casper, as far as I'm concerned.
Adam's Family.
No,
she was in 2 episodes of Grey's Anatomy, but that was like 15 years ago.
She's not been in anything since Casper, because I've not seen Grey's Anatomy. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good that she's in it, but it's the most random bit of casting
honestly, right?
ever.
If you've got Neil Patrick Harris in the suit with the sunglasses, hair slicked back, and he's like, "Have you met Neo?"
Yeah.
And then you've got Christina Ricci stood next to him, looking like Wednesday, just
fully
dressed
as Wednesday. Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Be hilarious.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, we don't really know much about it. I don't.
When they dead at the end of the last one?
They died.
Oh, spoilers.
Anthony's just ruined the Matrix trilogy. Some people might have been sat there thinking, I'll watch it when number 4 comes out.
What's even funnier is I've not seen it.
You've not even seen it. You just know.
I saw the first one and was like, what happened?
The first Matrix movie was amazing, and then that's why
I'll agree with you.
If you
I just want to understand what I watched.
No, the brilliant. Did you really not get the
I
Matrix?
really didn't get it. I couldn't get my head around what was happening.
I can sense a Matrix commentary or review coming. Listeners, if you want to listen,
6 hours of me going, huh?
If you want to listen to an 8-hour podcast of us pausing the Matrix all the way through, me explaining to Anthony why another cat who looks the same as the first cat just walked past the door. Anthony doesn't get that because he can't remember it, but anybody who's watched it will. Then just let us know on Twitter or Facebook, and we'll record one of them.
Is Lawrence Fishburne going to be in this one?
No. He's the only one who. Oh, I don't know if the guy who plays Agent Smith's going to be in it as well, Hugo Weaving. But I know Lawrence Fishburne's not been in it. He wasn't asked back for it, apparently.
Awkward.
Yeah, everybody else was. And not everybody else, I'm sure not everyone was. But yeah, he wasn't asked to come back. But it could just be the way that they want to take the story. But it's a bit weird because he was the only one who survived. Lawrence Fishburne was the only one who survived the movie out of the main 3 characters. And the 2 dead ones are back. And Lawrence Fishburne's not been asked to come back. Unless they're just keeping it secret.
Maybe.
Potentially. Like doing a bit of a Marvel
Could just be
thing.
like a reveal thing towards the end and he just rocks up.
Yeah. I like it. It's like when people say like, I've read news reports. We're digressing massively. We're not going to edit all this out. We're not, because it's just if you're new to the podcast, welcome to our world, because we just talk about random bits. I always find it weird. It's like I've seen a couple of bits of news and it's like, this actor has confirmed in an interview that they're not going to be in the MCU as this character in this, and it's like they're not going to tell you. That's not news. They're not going to tell you though. Yeah, I'm in it. God, you got me.
I mean, why isn't anyone interviewing me? Because I'd love to tell them who I'm not going to play in the Marvel universe.
How many times have you seen an actor get asked, "Are you in it?" and they go, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't get a call." And then literally a minute later, like the best. What was it? Paul Rudd getting interviewed on like the red carpet or something. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." "Oh no, those are all rumors." And like 2 days later, it was like Paul Rudd's going to be Ant-Man. It's like, don't believe any of them. Anyway, moving swiftly on. The Boys news. Jensen Ackles, we knew he was going to be playing Soldier Boy in season 3, and we finally got our first look at him in full costume, which does look
so excited
amazing. For this. The costume looks boss. He just looks like Steve Rogers in Infinity War, except it's green, and he's got the shield and everything. But it even looks more like the Wakandan shield than it does the Captain America shield.
It's like Captain America and the I'm rubbish with names again. I'm sorry. The guy with gills in The Boys.
Oh,
it's like their 2 costumes merged, isn't it?
Yeah, the Deep. Yeah. It's boss. I can't wait for The Boys.
But I'm well excited. Can't wait.
It's gonna be amazing. Again, we don't know when we don't know when it's coming out yet.
No.
It's not got a confirmed date. But I think
there's a lot of marketing for it at the moment, because between that and then that you said about the Starlight music video.
Stargirl,
someone different, isn't it?
A completely different, some Fly song or something like that. Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm sure there's someone in the DC called Stargirl.
It's Friday and I've finished work. I'm shattered.
I know. Yeah, just literally waiting to have a beer and crack on. But yeah, so I think with the amount of marketing that seems to be sort of happening and little bits of news coming very quickly, I would imagine that we'll probably get get a date reveal.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon, and hopefully it won't be too far away either. Last bit of news then, my most excited bit of news this week, very recent. We got the teaser trailer for Masters of the Universe Revelation or Revelations. I was excited anyway. It's He-Man and it's Kevin Smith writing and directing it, and then we watched the trailer. And if you told me before that it's going to be He-Man basically fighting Skeletor over I Need a Hero by Bonnie Tyler, I'd have been like, that's a bit shit. And then you watch it and you're just like, this is the greatest trailer ever made.
I still think they've missed a trick by not doing I Need a He-Man.
It should be that as well. It's 99% perfect, Kevin Smith. You just need to just tweak that a little bit and we're all right. It looks brilliant. The animation looks good. Looks very anime rather than cartoon, but I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
The voice cast again, you got Mark Hamill straight away. Literally
Mark
2 seconds
Hamill,
into
winner.
it, you can just hear that Mark Hamill's in it. It's gonna be brilliant. So that is on the 23rd of July. Part 1's on the 23rd of July.
Oh, okay.
Now I don't know whether this is like a series and there's like a few episodes on the 23rd, or whether it's like 2 long episodes like movies.
Maybe.
We probably should have researched that before we start talking about it on the podcast.
There's a lot of things where they've been doing like 4 parts or something like that.
Yeah.
So it might just be like a 4-part longer episode thing.
Yeah. Whatever it is, I'm just
That'll be good.
It'll be good. It'll be decent. I used to watch He-Man when I was a kid. It was a bit before your time.
Yeah,
but it'll be good. We'll talk about that on the podcast.
Let's be honest, I watched stuff that was a bit camper. I was all about the Smurfs.
Nothing wrong with the Smurfs. Nothing wrong with the Smurfs. Anyway, on that note, let's move on. I don't know what to say to that.
Mate, you've got He-Man with his massive sword and they're all fighting and rah rah rah, and then I've got la 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 la
rah
la,
rah
rah. Moving on.
Moving swiftly on. So, Loki. Should we talk about Loki?
Yes, please.
Loki, episode 1, Glorious Purpose. That is what it's called, isn't it?
Yeah, Glorious
He says
Purpose.
it quite a lot in the
says
episode, to be fair. Before we start, really quickly, spoilers. Obviously,
yeah, mega spoilers.
It's been out for a few days. Everybody should have watched it by now. If you haven't, pause. Go and watch it.
If you haven't, where have you been?
What are you listening to this podcast
What are you doing?
for? If you've not
Your
seen
priorities
Loki,
are wrong.
You are on Apple Podcast and you are lost if you are listening to this and you've got this far in and you've not watched Loki yet and you don't know what we're talking about. Pause and go back and then come back and watch it. So we'll do a full breakdown because it's a 50 minute episode.
40 to 50, yeah.
Rather than us trying to fly through Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame in 40 minutes. We can talk about this and go through it in a bit more detail. So where did we start, Anthony? We started in 2012, like you'd said we would, or hoped we would.
I said from the beginning I'd hoped that we would literally pick up where we left off.
Yeah,
and we did. And that made me so happy. I loved that they introduced it was the original story, but then they added like a little flit of an extra scene. So like the close up of Loki waving to Hulk as he had to take the stairs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I liked that it had played what we'd already seen, but tweaked it ever so slightly to make it fresh. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Rather than it just being a pure. It's purely just a 5
cut
minutes
and paste.
Of Endgame. Yeah. No, it was good. Even the bit where he transformed into Steve and said.
He did do that, but it looked like it was from a different angle this time.
Much
so I don't
closer,
know whether it was like B-roll or something that they used.
Potentially.
But I was excited.
Yeah, it was good. And then he basically follows what we see in Endgame. He gets the Tesseract, he disappears, and then he appears in the Gobi Desert.
About a mile above the Gobi Desert.
Well, like spat out of a wormhole, crashes into the sand, and then we get him obviously getting out of the sand. We're not going to go into it in that much detail, but just little points that we thought. People are listening to this thinking, wow, we're going to talk about every little second of the movie. We're not. Maybe. But it's when he gets out of the sand, it's very reminiscent of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
In Iron Man after he crashed. It literally, I was looking at pictures of it and it's like identical, just slightly different angle. Yeah. So I thought that was quite interesting. I wondered whether it's kind of saying it's like the start of his journey as a hero, maybe, because it's what it was for Tony, wasn't he? Tony he wasn't a villain, but he wasn't a good guy, was he? No. Until he transformed into Iron Man. So pretty quickly he tries to do his I'm the boss with the people in the desert. He's just not changed at all.
Barely gets 5 words in, doesn't he?
If that. And then that's when the TVA show up. So the TVA and Hunter B-15, who is a proper badass. She's boss. She's not taking any mess in. She's not scared of this guy in the slightest.
She's like, you're a god, give a shit.
Exactly. And then she punches him in the face.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
I laughed so much at this.
At first, because we watch this together, because we don't normally watch this together, do we? We
No.
normally record this. We normally watch them separately and then meet to record. But this week we sat down and watched this together. And I think we were both sitting thinking, this is brilliant, but it's slow-mo.
We laughed, then we stopped. And then we laughed again because
she
it carried on.
She comes in. Yeah, at first the fact that it was just carrying on.
It just
going
went on for
ages.
so long and it made it funnier.
But it's when you realise that it's only him who's slow. And she's just like, I'm just going to crack on, put this thing around your neck. And what did she say? It's like, you're feeling this in real time.
You're feeling the pain in real time, even though you've slowed down.
Harsh, but hilarious.
Brilliant.
I like it. So they basically then take him into custody and they put one of the, it's like a bomb type thing, isn't it? Like, it looks like a little grenade to reset like the timeline.
A little, with orange stuff that turns purple.
You paid a lot more attention than I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sounds right.
it's like, it looks like an orange liquid or something. And then when they set it off, which is like the Men in Black neuralizer thing, it turns into like a big cloud of purple smoke.
Which resets the timeline.
Makes everyone forget the immediate interference, as it were, of the variant.
Bloody hell, that was technical sounding.
I know, right?
You've lost me completely, but yeah.
TVA, you can hire me any day.
That's fine. You are proper gunning for a job here in this episode, aren't you?
I know, right?
So they take him back anyway. They reset the timeline, and we see quite a bit in the TVA, all hilarious. So we meet Casey first. We find out his name's Casey later. The guy on reception, he's brilliant. And then he goes into this elevator and just gets completely stripped. Completely stripped by the robot, and he is surprisingly hench.
He is hench. Like, I could not believe it.
I was dead surprised.
Because he's quite a skinny guy, isn't he? So to see
apparently not,
but to see as much muscle on him as we did. It's very defined.
It did focus on him quite a little bit. It was a very, very slow move up from his chest, wasn't it?
It was kind of like, we know you've seen that all of these other heroes have been getting pumped, but Loki's done something too.
Loki's done something as well, yeah. Do you reckon Tom Hiddleston was like, whoa, slow down?
I need at least one topless scene. Come on.
I've been working on these abs. I've been working on this for months for one little 10-second scene. We need to stretch out as much as possible. So we see him get stripped in the elevator anyway. Then he drops into a room with the dude who's got every word he's ever said. with the cat, or is it a cat? Is it Flerken?
Flerken.
I'm going Flerken. Unless it's proved to be a cat, which we'll never see this thing again.
Imagine if one of the Flerkens take the Tesseract in the TVA. Because it's that whole thing again from Captain Marvel.
They just eat Tesseracts.
Yeah.
And that's what they enjoy to eat.
Maybe it's just a running joke that a Flerken's going to get the Tesseract
and
each time.
And in the TVA, they probably can because there's tons of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. So he has to sign for every word he's ever said. And he keeps basically saying things and they keep putting pieces of paper
and then he just scans it and puts it in front of him. It was so funny.
So clever. And then the best bit is when he gets dropped into the next bit with the metal. It looks like a metal detector. It is a metal detector.
But even before that, where he points.
Oh, yeah. He lands, doesn't he? He lands and he's scared to say it. He's just pointing up really angrily. So he has to go through this metal detector. And what does he say to him?
This was a game changer, this one.
This was amazing.
So
this is all over Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, it basically asks him whether he's aware that he's a robot.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I don't think I am.
Are people really not aware that they're robots?
Yeah, and then he's like, if you're not a robot, that's fine, step right through. And he's like, what if I am? He's like,
what if I'm a robot?
But then he just sounds so frustrated, doesn't he, this guy? And he's like, if you are, then you'll start melting from the inside. Can you step through, please?
Yeah, like no biggie to us if you melt. But it's the first time, he's been cocky all the way through the episode, and we obviously find out a lot more later on about, what he's really like and what he's really thinking, but he looks terrified when he's going through it, and he's mumbling to himself, and he's like,
closes his eyes.
I'm not a robot. I'm a real man. I was like, I'm a real boy.
I'm a real boy.
And he, goes through, and he's all right in the end, obviously, but... yeah, he's not happy.
That whole thing was just hilarious.
Brilliant. But just little things that you wouldn't have even... I mean, thinking of putting them sort of things, but it made little bits of the episode, didn't it? And the fact that we come back to Casey later as well with the fish is brilliant. So he gets put into a queue of him and one other dude, and he has to take this ticket, which obviously becomes important later. And that's when we meet Miss Minutes.
Yeah.
Say meet. She's on a computer. She's on a TV. She's on a screen. Voiced by
Tara
Strong, who is a massive voice actress. Harley Quinn,
Batgirl, Barbara,
Tommy Turner from the Very Odd Parents, the biggest one. So we find out quite a lot from her in this video. Very similar to the video from Ragnarok when Thor was getting told about Sakaar and all that sort of stuff. But the big points that you take out of it are there's been a multiversal war, so there have been loads of different multiverses, but now there's only one sacred timeline, they call it. Yeah. So that got me questioning straight away, how are we going to get to... Obviously, we know how we're going to get to the multiverse because all these things are going to branch off, but that must mean up until now, there's potentially millions of years ago, there's not been different multiverses, there's not been different universes.
But it also made us question at the time why the Avengers got away with it. Like,
which we know now.
Jumping back, which we now know.
Yeah, because we said, didn't we, why did they not rock up and arrest Steve when he's been jumping, putting things around and all that sort of stuff? But clearly didn't. But maybe he did, because there's little things that come up later on as to how he might have ended up with Peggy, I suppose. But but I just thought, like, how are we going to get... Are we really not going to get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in No Way Home? Have we just been completely fooled that they're coming?
We'll be so disappointed if we don't get them.
Sony must be shitting themselves now if they've not done that, because the reception is not going to be great. But if there aren't any other timelines, how do they exist?
But then I think that's what's going to happen in this series.
Yeah, because I suppose
I think the breakdown is going to happen.
You could go back and create a timeline 200 years ago, and then instantly, now in 2023, you've got a Tobey Maguire and an Andrew Garfield, haven't you, I suppose? So I suppose you could go back and change things, couldn't you?
Yeah. But, like, again, with Doctor Strange 2 coming out, and it being Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, well done.
I always say it the wrong way around.
You normally get that wrong, but yeah, you got that right this time, well done.
And because the fact that we know that that's the madness of it, then is there a key element that's going to happen, a key event of something like that's going to happen that triggers into that film?
It's got to be Loki.
Do you know what I mean? And that's it. That's the only thing that we can really think it could be.
Because now that we know it's not happened up until now.
But with Spider-Man coming out sooner than Doctor Strange 2, is it going to be that the events of Loki are then followed into Spider-Man?
Because the order's not changed. That part of order's not changed because of the pandemic, has it? That was the order. It was Loki. It was supposed to go Loki, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Or potentially your theory's right.
Maybe.
Which we'll get onto. We'll get onto a little bit later.
I'm so excited.
So we also find out from Miss Minute, then, don't we, that when they've pulled this Loki from the timeline, they've reset the timeline. So now there is a Loki back in 2012. Yeah. At the point where he left. Yeah. So this Loki,
which I then think is a robot person that doesn't
be a
know,
robot person,
and that's how that works.
Why they ask. Yeah. So what, they send robots back? Yeah. Maybe.
Robots dressed as Loki?
I'm not convinced, but maybe.
Well, I'm just. It's a theory.
It's a theory. That's not his good theory. Don't worry. That's not. We're not just giving that away.
This is just a taste.
That's a taste. It's not. It's not a taster.
It's totally different.
It's better the other one, kind of. But it basically means that this Loki's got nowhere to go. So he can't go back to his timeline, because if he goes back to his timeline, there's already a Loki there that they've replaced him with. We also see the melt stick, or the dissolve stick. Yes. We're going to call it, because
the dissolve stick.
It doesn't leave a big mess like it did in Ragnarok, like a Baraka. The Baraka stick, we'll call it. So we see that, and Loki is, again, he's panicking, isn't he, when he can't find his ticket? He's like rummaging around, like trying to find, and he holds it up really quickly. It's like, yes, so I've got a ticket. And then something else we noticed, because we watched this multiple times, and how many times did we pause it? And me and Anthony both like faces up against the TV, trying to make it out. So in the TVA, when he's got his ticket, there's a clock above one of the little windows. Yeah. And either it's not there, the number 6, or it's being covered by one of the hands. Yeah. Similar to the clock.
WandaVision.
In WandaVision. We're probably reading into it far too much.
But it seems weird that all the other numbers are clearly visible, but 6 is not.
I mean, it could just be the fact that it's covered by one of the hands, because there's multiple hands on that clock.
But Marvel, it's I'm sure that Marvel wouldn't do that to us. No, what I mean is, like, everything's intentional with Marvel.
Yeah. So, but part of it, but it's not. I don't think it's necessarily intentional. It
might be an intentional red herring. I
think it's probably an intentional red herring, because the pull of WandaVision, I mean, it was a great series, but the pull of WandaVision was how everyone was talking and theorizing, and that was part of the fun of WandaVision. If the whole thing had dropped in a day, you wouldn't have had any of that, and that was part of the fun. And you can tell this is going to be part of the fun with Loki. It's going to be like every week we're going to be sat there thinking, what the hell's happened and what's going to happen next week. So then putting in these little red herrings, they know it gets people talking. And we go literally the next scene, we get a title card then, don't we? And we go to France, 1549 I think it is,
something like that.
And then that's when we see Owen Wilson for the first time. Mobius and Mobius. Is his
not
character.
Morbius that I keep saying.
Not Morbius. No, different character. Different character. Hopefully in a separate universe, but we won't talk about that. So Owen Wilson's brilliant in it. He's good in everything, really.
He is. He's very funny. He does look like Howard Stark.
He does look very similar.
He's got very much that look, hasn't he?
Yeah. He doesn't say wow yet.
No.
There's got to be a wow before the end of the series. There has to be a wow. Or a ka-chow. Wow, ka-chow.
Could you imagine if he's just stood there watching a fight like with Loki and someone else and he's just like, wow.
Wow. Wow. Well, I just keep cutting back to him. Wow. What is it? Is that what's it in? Is it it's in Scott Pilgrim. I can't remember where it is in Scott Pilgrim, but he keeps cutting back to him and he keeps going, wow. Well, it's when Chris Evans skateboards down the rail and it keeps cutting back to him. He's like, wow. Wow. We need that. Wow. We need that in this.
Love it.
So we find anyway that the Minutemen, which are basically the hunters like B-15, they're getting murdered, and it sounds like it's happening quite a lot because they say like it's the same stab wounds and it looks like it's the same person who's doing it. And then this kid, they're in a church, aren't they? So this kid walks in and he questions him, and he's seen the whole thing, and he says, do you know who did it? And he points to the stained glass window, and it's the devil. And me and Anthony both went, we've like never been happier, and we now know it's probably not going to be Mephisto, but again, it's Marvel completely knowing. This is again going back. You know when I said like interviewing people and saying, are they going to be in this film? Somebody has interviewed one of the writers on this, the lead writer, Kate Herron, I think her name is, and said, is Mephisto going to be in this? And she says no. And it's like, report, Mephisto's not going to be in it because the writer says. It's like, she's not going to say yes if he is she? It's easier to say. I think the fact that she said no and not wait and see means he probably is, to be fair, just to throw us. But
her name is also Kate Herron, so she could be a red herring.
I wonder if she's ginger.
Maybe she's not even real.
Maybe she's not even a real writer and it's a complete red herring.
It's just a hobo off the street that they dressed up. She's only in it for the free food that day.
Let's hope Kate Herron's not listening to the podcast.
I'm so sorry, Kate. It's just jokes.
Just jokes.
Please hire me in the future.
So he gets so Mobius anyway. He gets handed a file by somebody. I think they come through these doors, these portals, don't they?
Yeah.
And he gets handed Loki's file because
we haven't seen them. Have we seen them open one from their side to go through?
No.
Because I was wondering whether they have like some remote or something, or whether it's something else. I don't know. Just wondering.
Is it not like the little time looper thing?
I don't know.
No, they seem to use something else to see it. That's just works in the TVA, I think, doesn't it?
I think so.
We have not seen anybody do the magic hand thing like Doctor Strange, the whoosh thing, and do the thing that Peter does. We've not seen anybody doing that. No. Maybe because these are square, they have to do it like this. Move around like a mime. Maybe not. It's not a joke. It's not a joke if no one can see me doing it.
I know, it was funnier to watch that.
Andy said it was funny. So we go to it. So Loki's basically having a court hearing with Ravonna Renslayer.
Yeah.
Who is the lady who's basically running everything. She's like the judge.
She's the judge.
She's the judge, isn't she, basically? I love the fact that she calls him Loki Laufeyson, but like it just sounds like just a random dude's name. And obviously it's because he's the son of Laufey rather than Odinson. Yeah. But it just sounds weird. You keep calling him Mr. Laufeyson, and it's just like it just sounds like just some random in court, not the god of mischief, basically. So Loki blames the Avengers. So he's obviously got onto the fact in 2012 that wasn't what was supposed to happen. Yeah, and there were multiples. He doesn't say like you could smell the cologne of two Tony Starks, and it definitely wasn't just one of them because the trace is strong. But
which is funny because they had the joke about the Axe
body spray. Yeah, or is it Lynx that's Lynx, isn't it? Axe, I think.
Axe is like the cheap version of Lynx, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're getting far
Axe is like the B&M Home Bargains version.
Sorry for asking that question because we've just digressed massively about Lynx and Axe body spray. So she says though, doesn't she? She says what the Avengers did was supposed to happen. Yeah. So that means the whole people dying, jumping back and forward through time. Surely that also means though that the Thanos from 2014 leaving that timeline and never coming back must have been supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But I wonder whether they've gone and the TV of the A have then jumped into the 2014 timeline and reset it.
Put a fake Thanos
and
in.
put a robot Thanos.
Oh.
Maybe robot Thanos. Or maybe they brought him in.
Maybe.
Don't know. Maybe that's how they got all those Infinity Stones. They just keep bringing Thanoses in. There's just a room. There's just a cell full of Thanoses.
Imagine if you opened the door and there were 25 Thanoses in there.
Oh, just sitting around playing poker at a table.
Cigars hanging out
sharing a bucket in the corner. One toilet in the corner. When did they get you?
Each one of them with like 2 different coloured stones on going. Yeah, I didn't get all 5. All 6.
Score chart on the thing. How many stones did you get? But yeah, she finds him guilty anyway, and she says they're going to reset him, which we assume means kill him.
Yeah,
in some way. But that's when Mobius steps in, doesn't he? And he says he wants him basically, and we find out why pretty quickly, which was surprising that we find out so much so quickly in the.
Which is what
episode.
Makes me think there's a much bigger twist behind it.
There's got to be, hasn't there?
Yeah.
So Mobius basically wants him to come and help on the. Well, it's not a mission, is it? It's kind of a mission.
Yeah.
It's a mission that Mobius is on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway. So he takes him to this interrogation room, and this is where he basically just picks
a
Loki
case.
to pieces.
Let's call it a case.
Case, that's better.
Bit like a detective, innit?
Because he is kind of a detective, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, because he knows who he is.
Yeah.
He knows who or do they think they know who the bad guy is?
Yeah.
Is it right? We won't tell who the bad guy is. I mean, you've watched it. You know who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
Do you? Do you know who the bad guy is? Do we know?
It's Wilma.
Who's Wilma?
I don't know. I was just saying something random.
So random. Freaking hell's Wilma?
Wilma Flintstone.
There's a t-shirt. Who's Wilma? Who the hell is Wilma?
Wilma Flintstone just barges down the door.
It's the multiverse. It could happen. It could happen. So anyway, he takes him to this interrogation room, and he just, for like 20 minutes, just picks Loki to pieces.
Yeah.
He's not intimidated by him, and he's basically just breaking him.
It's rough as hell.
Breaking him. It is. There's some proper like harsh bits.
Yeah.
And like bits that are like almost make you cry sort of thing, because it's not nice, but it's a very quick. It's basically the 5 movies of Loki that we've seen, and the transformation of him going to villain to kind of a bit of a hero, maybe anti-hero.
Yeah.
But he seems to go further, in my opinion. He's more corrected than he was, but in 20 minutes rather than over a number of years, which is probably why it's so rough.
Yeah.
So I mean, he starts off saying like, I hunt dangerous variants, and Loki's like, oh, like me, and he's like, no, I mean like particularly dangerous variants. You're just a pussycat or something like that. He says, and again, he's just putting him down straight away, and then he asks him like what his plan is, and what are you trying to do? Take over Earth? And you can tell he's like taking the piss, and even Loki knows you're taking the piss out of me, sort of thing. But he goes with it, and he says, well, what's after that? You're gonna take over all the 9 realms? You're going to take over space? You're going to be the king of space? You're going to be the king of space, are you? Sort of thing. Just like completely rubbishing exactly what he says.
Yeah.
And then that's when he starts showing him basically his timeline. Yeah. So he shows him the battle in New York. He shows him losing the battle in New York. Of course, he call it a sample of your greatest hits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's a dig, isn't it? And he says, for someone who's born to rule, you sure do lose a lot.
Yeah.
And again, it's just taking pops at him, and that's when he's obviously trying to put him down, but I think he's also trying to get him to realize he's not. I mean, I think he already realizes he's not.
Yeah,
but he's trying to get him to admit to himself that he's not, because he says like, do you actually enjoy hurting people? And he's trying to be like, yeah, I do, like all the
the big I am,
like Biggie Billy Big Bollocks. Biggie Big Bollocks. That didn't work. Billy Big Bollocks he's trying to be. And then we see, surprisingly, the DB Cooper scene. Yeah. Which came out of nowhere.
And I didn't realise it was the DB Cooper scene until Owen Wilson said,
You were DB Cooper.
You were DB Cooper. And I was like, oh, that's what that was.
But we knew the scene was coming.
Yeah.
Because we talked about it, hadn't we, previously, about like the fact of the Bifrost. But it makes sense, because we were questioning, like, if this is Loki on like a mission, how's he getting the Bifrost to come and collect him? Yeah. From a sort of thing. But I was just surprised at how early on that happened, because I thought that was going to be like a proper mission, and one of his missions that he has to do with Owen Wilson, and it's not. It's a joke. Yeah, he lost a bet to Thor, so he has to go and crash a plane or something. Thing. This was just the forfeit.
It was just
really
stealing money for fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically, yeah. But it made us, because we both said as soon as that scene happened, we were like, we've now seen like most of what's in the trailers, which is good because we've now got...
It's now like,
surprises.
well, what's left? What's happening now?
Exactly. Something else which I didn't realise until today, well after we've watched it, I think for probably for this, I was looking on like IMDb, like who's in it and stuff like that. And I can't remember the actress's name, I apologise. The actress who played the air hostess is in all 6 episodes of Loki.
Oh?
Now that's a bit odd.
Yeah.
Why is she in all 6 episodes? She must be TVN.
Oh, I've got another theory.
Have we got a theory now?
Yeah.
Have I just implanted
I've got a theory that I'm going to add to my theory.
We'll leave it to Pod Fans
Oh my god, yeah. I'm excited even more now.
Brilliant. So we see that scene anyway. And then that's the first time we properly see him use this time looper. So Loki's like trying to stand up and attack and all that sort of stuff, and he just keeps looping him back to his chair, doesn't he? And he's getting proper fed up basically. And he's saying like he's trying to convince him, or he's not convinced Loki that somebody else is controlling him, even like in that little bit, but controlling his entire life. He's like, I'm the god. I'm a god. I do what I want. You dudes in suits and these glorified space lizards, I think he calls them. They're not basically deciding my fate.
I choose my own path.
Exactly.
That's what he said. I think.
And then he shows him what happened in Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
And it's very, very clever because it's like, right, do you decide what you're doing? Do you?
Yeah.
Right. Let's see what
you
apparently decided to do.
Yeah.
And he shows him the fact that Frigga dies and the fact that it was his actions completely.
This is just where it got brutal and heart wrenching, didn't it?
Did. And Owen Wilson, Mobius, we'll call him. Sorry, he is just like not holding back.
He's not taking any prisoners, is he?
No. After he showed it to him, he says, Loki says, "I'll kill you," and he's like, "Oh, what? Like you killed your mum?"
Oh.
So harsh.
It was.
A proper burn.
It really was.
He's not happy.
No.
And isn't that when he loops him back to his chair? He loops him back to he's thrown the chair.
Yeah,
at the
he's thrown the chair, didn't
and
he?
And he loops him back, and he's like, "Sorry, the furniture doesn't loop. It's just you." And he falls on his arse. And then he says to him, you weren't. It's like sort of the sum up. He says, you weren't born to become king. You were basically just born to cause suffering and pain and death.
Yeah.
And he said, the point of view is not so you can do something. Your point is so that others can achieve the better versions of themselves. And he shows them the Avengers all doing a little pose in the Avengers. But it's just completely rubbishing his existence.
It also like cements what Loki's always thought about himself.
Yeah, which we find out, but it's what we've sort of delved into more.
No, I mean like even from our point of view, like as we watched him in the first Thor film and all of that kind of stuff, that he kept getting pushed back and kind of left to the shadows kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's that all over again, isn't it?
So it's like he's got no purpose himself. He's literally there to be a supporting character.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice that he's now not a supporting character in this, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as he's sort of come into that realization, that's when Hunter B-15 interrupts and basically says that they've got a situation, and she takes Mobius away, and she basically tells him that they've lost another unit, so another group of Minutemen have been killed by who we now know killed them.
Yeah.
So he goes back to Loki and says, we'll wrap this up. We'll leave this for today. We'll come back to this tomorrow. And that's when he finds that Loki's robbed his time looper, and I think he's trying to escape at this point, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he loops something again. I didn't notice this in actually watching it. When he first loops out of the room and he just like lands in the corridor.
Yeah.
One of these portal doors opens up behind him, and it looks surprisingly like Peggy Carter being like dragged in by one of the TVA. It looks like he's got her by the arm and he's like escorting her into the TVA. Yeah. Is it Peggy Carter, or is this just Marvel being
another red herring?
Another red herring. I don't know if I want it to be Peggy Carter, because I can't think where it'd go. Or could this be leading into What If?
Maybe.
And she's changed the timeline.
Maybe.
Somehow, so that's where we're going to get this Captain Carter. Fit, wouldn't it?
You never know.
It would fit. They've reset that timeline or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's going to be loads of these. This is just one division of the clock and the and the toaster and the advert all over again, isn't it? So he escapes anyway, and he goes to Casey, and he basically says he wants the Tesseract, and he says, "What does he say? Give me the Tesseract, or I'll gut you like a fish."
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, what's a fish?"
What's a fish? And Amazing. You think he's gonna say
good.
literally? It wasn't even slow, but like in your head, it's like he's gonna say what's the Tesseract, and he just comes out with fish, and it's just so surprising. And he's like, I want to know what I'm being threatened with before I decide whether to comply or not. And he gives him the Tesseract. He opens the drawer, and there's just a drawer full of Infinity Stones. Yeah, which was just like, again, it was another one of those moments where we were like, what's going on? What's happening here? And it's a big point for us. Yeah, because it's showing us how powerful this
they call
TVA
them paperweights.
Exactly. Like, a few of the guys use them as paperweights.
And these were supposed to be the most powerful things in the universe.
That could only be destroyed by themselves.
Yeah.
And the thing is, even when they are destroyed, they're not destroyed. They're reduced to the level of atoms. So they are still there and they're still in existence.
Well, that's how you've got the ether and stuff like that,
You can't destroy these things. And these guys are using them as paperweights because they're just rocks to them, basically.
And here's another thing that we noticed, because there was only 5 out of the 6 colours in the drawer.
Yeah, we can't tell whether
it's the yellow one that was missing.
Yeah, which is the Mind Stone. Yeah, we think could have been dark lighting on the tally, but one of them was missing. The orange, basically the Mind Stone or the Soul Stone wasn't there from what we could tell. Does that mean something? Possibly not.
It might not mean anything. It was just so weird that there was all the other 5, but then not that one. Just seemed weird.
It was a bit weird, wasn't it? But I don't know. It's another
nothing.
It's another 6 on the clock and Peggy Carter lookalike in the background, probably. I think it's also when Loki, you can see it on his face. He's like, "Hang on, what am I up against? They're telling me that they're in charge, and they're telling me that they're all powerful, and I've not believed them, and now they've got a drawer full of Infinity Stones, and you can just tell he looks defeated, doesn't he? It's just like, right, this is not gonna go.
This is not
gonna go my way, basically. No. So then B-15 shows up, and he loops out the way again. He goes back to the interrogation room, doesn't he? Yeah. Straight back. Casey nearly gets melted with the melt stick, or Barockered with the Barocca stick, shall we say? And then that's when he sits and watches his future. He watches the entire thing.
Which brutal, innit?
He watches Ragnarok.
Well, he watches his mum again first, doesn't he?
He does. He watches
because he lets himself react properly.
Yeah,
and that
because he's putting on a brave face, isn't he? In front of Mobius.
I really enjoyed that moment, acting wise. Like, it was just incredible. Yeah, but it was the same with his own death again with Thanos.
But it was the same even with Thor. Like the bit where he was like, he like made friends with Thor. You could see like the pure happiness in his face.
Content,
yeah. It was like, I donate him. I put on a front.
I made amends with my brother. Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah,
yeah. And the acting from Tom Hiddleston, that whole, again, it's minutes.
It's no words either. No, and that's the thing. Like,
he's just emoting so much with just his face.
Entirely his acting, no writing, no nothing. It's just him.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But hard to watch. Yeah, that moment when he watches himself get killed, and the crack of his neck was 10 times louder than when it was in Endgame. Yeah, and his reaction, it's like pure
Dolby sound system, wasn't it, that they were using?
Must have been. Yeah, they've upgraded. They've got better. The TVs in the TVA are better, so you can hear all the surround sound and stuff like that. You just imagine all the people in the TVA sat around watching the screen, watching Endgame. Yeah, all going yes, and when Portals happens,
and then that bit comes on, it's like, hello.
Yeah, I know what you mean. In the cinema. I was thinking a second, what's he talking about? But I get it now. Mark Strong saying hello, turn your phone off. So B-15 anyway shows up again in the interrogation room, and she has a bit of a fight with Loki, but Loki manages to get the collar off and put it on onto B-15, and just basically keeps looping her back and forth, which was great.
Stop
it.
Stop it.
Stop it. That must have been so good to film, really that funny. Just constantly running back and forwards up the room, basically. It was really good. So then he basically loops her away in the end, and then that's when Mobius comes back to the room, and he's just sat on the floor, and he's just
defeated,
he's just like a broken man. And he admits he's tried to use the Tesseract a couple of times to escape, and he can't. Yeah. But he says he doesn't enjoy hurting people. He has to, and he's had to, because it's part of the illusion. Yeah. And he says an illusion, it's something that's conjured by the weak, i.e. him. So he's admitting that he's weak, and it's to inspire fear in other people. And again, that's why I think he's gone further than
he did before.
the original Loki did, because he's now admitting. I mean, he might have always admitted to himself, but he's admitting
Never
to somebody
said it out
else.
loud, has he? So
No. And we've always sort of said, like, even when we watched Endgame and we were talking about it in the review, it's like, is he good? Is he bad? Because you can't quite tell. And I suppose you're not 100% now, but it's the furthest he's looked from being a villain ever.
Well, this is where I'd said that I believe more so he's a victim of circumstance than anything else.
100%. And he's just had to do this to sort of survive, because at the end of the day, he's not Asgardian.
No.
And he's had to sit there and have a brother being Thor.
Yeah.
And his dad. Do you know what I mean? So he's had to put up with...
It's not even just that, it's the fact that he thought he was. So everything he knew was taken away from him in a split second.
So he's probably been sat there as a kid right up until he found out, thinking, not only I am nowhere near as strong or as powerful as these people, but I don't understand why. What's wrong with me, sort of thing. And obviously when he then realised, it probably explained a lot, but that's why he's now just like come to the realisation that I am weak. And he's not weak. We know he's not weak. No. He's pretty formidable, isn't he? But in his mind, compared to his brother and his dad, he considers himself to be weak. Yeah. And that's what Mobius has wanted to do, isn't he? He's wanted to get rid of the villain side of him, because he then says, we've got a job for you. Do you want to join this case? There's a fugitive variant going around. He's jumping between time. He's killing people. And the reason we want you is because it's you. Yeah. It's a variant of you, which we were both gobsmacked at. Yeah. Not necessarily the fact that it was a bad Loki, but the fact that we know now. Yeah. Which makes me think it possibly isn't. Yeah. Because it makes me think there's a bigger twist. There must be something massive coming if they've to reveal it in the first episode. 40 minutes into the series, we know who. Imagine if they'd have done that with Agatha. Exactly. Because it wouldn't have been all along. It had been for the last 5 seconds. It was Agatha for 40 minutes. Doesn't go as well as it was Agatha all along. It was Agatha in that minute. It doesn't work. No. It doesn't work. So then we jump to Oklahoma, 1858, and then that's when we see this evil variant of Loki kill a load of Minutemen. Yeah. And take the reset device, which we think we think that they'd said that in France in 1548 or whatever it was that it was missing or something. We've watched this twice and still can't remember. We keep getting gripped that much that we forgot to check. It's Mephisto on the window. We rewound 3 times or 4 times to check if there was a 6 on the clock, but we didn't forget. We forgot to rewind for that bit. But yeah, pretty sure that she potentially. We think it's probably going to be. I think a lot of people do think it's going to be female version of Loki. It's kind of come out quite a lot since the episode on it. But then, is it or is it not? They wouldn't show it if it was just bog standard Tom Hiddleston. They wouldn't have covered her face. No, his face. I keep saying hair. I'm just sold on the fact that it's female version of Loki, and that's pretty much the episode though. Brilliant, amazing start to a series. Really, really good. So good. I like the fact it's like with WandaVision. I know they released the first 2 episodes at the same time, but we didn't get much from both of them, did we? So it still left us hanging. It asked loads of questions. Yeah. And somehow this has managed to give you so much information, but I've still got tons of questions. Yeah. And it's just been done so well. And apparently it's the most watched Disney Plus show. I'm not surprised. It's amazing. I mean, the fact that it's Tom Hiddleston, I think, would have sold people anyway. But absolutely brilliant. Can't wait. And everybody loved Loki as a villain anyway. Yes. In the previous films, so to have his own series, everyone's jumped to it, haven't they? But then they will want him to be a complete good guy. I still want that element of... I don't think that element of like mischief will ever go away. No. He's still going to be a proper opportunist. I think he'll still double-cross people and try and get things where he can. And he's that one, he'll go and help a family in a shop, but then if he sees something valuable, he'll take it on its way out. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, like the Tesseract. Yeah. To rob it. But yeah, absolutely amazing. Really enjoyed that. Cannot wait. Unfortunately, we've not seen series 2, episode 2, because we're not important enough to Disney. No. I won't complain. Please, Disney. No, but we're looking forward to it. Again, I like the fact how, I mean, I'm not, you're not having a pop at anybody who's seen episode 2, but imagine having to wait 2 weeks. That'd kill me. You have to wait 2 weeks for episode 3? Yeah. It'd be a nightmare. So, should we do... Well, they watched episode 1 and 2 like a couple of days before the release. Yeah. So you're talking more than 2 weeks? They're probably having to wait 2.5 weeks to watch episode 3. Yes, that to be fair. Couldn't do that. No. Disney, I'm not going to check the spam folder. We'll just pretend we didn't get it. Sure it's in there, but we'll pretend we didn't get it. Should we do Pod Fans Assemble? Yeah, let's do it. Pod
Fans, assemble.
Okay, so before the episode aired, we had at Laura0815 on Twitter saying, I reckon the villain is going to be a version or variant of Loki. The series might end on the DB Cooper reference seen in the trailers, and that Mobius and his variant of Loki become besties. All of them will most likely be completely wrong. Well, nailed it on the version of variant of Loki.
Laura's clearly seen episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's just trolling us.
Trolling us with the DB Cooper.
Yeah. Oh, I promise I didn't know. No. Well done, Laura. Absolutely spot on.
Nailed it. Then we've got Loka Brenner, who said, just had a terrible idea. What if, hear me out, I don't want to see it because it's sad, but what if we get this exact scene in the show, but he's crying and saying this shit to Mobius instead of Thor? And it's Child Loki saying, Thor, if I go bad, do it, just do it, promise me, which is obviously sounding like he's saying kill him. And Loki's, if he turns evil. And Loki's like, Loki, no, never.
That could happen.
It could.
It depends where they take it. But again, I don't think. I mean, it's going to be rough to watch, so I don't really want it to happen. But then at the same time, like we've just said,
for all we know, I mean, what if the variant of Loki is recruiting other variants of Loki?
Like making a little Loki army.
Yeah, and it could be all different ones, and it could be a Kid Loki in there.
Yeah, who doesn't want to be there, but has got dragged into it.
Yeah,
because I don't want this Loki to become a kid and then just be purely good. Because you like that. I like that element of him.
Just tying Owen Wilson's shoelaces together and
running
away.
I like that. I like that element of him. I think it'd be all right if we then got a Kid Loki version, like in the Young Avengers, who hadn't become a villain and was just like
just
really,
good Loki.
Powerful. Yeah, like that. I think that'd be good. But Tom Hiddleston being fully good, I don't like it. I still want to be sat there thinking, who's he going to do over? Even though he's the hero, he's still going to potentially do you over. So don't trust him completely.
So then these next ones came after the show aired. So Keeper of the Sacred Flame said, I love the ending theme for it, which was amazing, to be fair.
Yeah.
Really good.
They're always good, aren't they, with Disney Plus? Brilliant.
Impressive. We had Jessica Barry. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was gonna. I'm surprised that they revealed so early that it was Loki they were chasing, but I'm guessing that means there's a much bigger twist coming. Love the ending. Can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Exactly the same, to be fair. She also added Loki to be the King of Space by the end of the season.
Yeah,
I'm calling it.
King of Space.
Fab.
That's another t-shirt.
What
t-shirts do we want? One King of Space t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the other one was.
Yeah, it was maybe
it was Wilma. It was Wilma. Yeah. Wilma, King of Space.
Wilma. Then we got MCU and Me podcast. Brilliant from the get-go. It's like they took the metaphysical, psychological bent of WandaVision and the buddy comedy everyone wanted from Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Swelled it in with a Rick and Morty blender and ran it through a Coen Brothers filter. Here for it.
Absolutely spot on. And amazing at the fact. I didn't even think of that.
Pickle Loki.
It could be a variant. I'll be gutted if we don't get him now.
I know, right? We then also got Paul Sears. Great first episode. Liked Miss Minutes, a.k.a. Mr. DNA. Little nod to Jurassic Park. Explaining what happens to the timeline, as we all knew. The fact that the multiverse does happen suggests things don't end well for the TVA, and what role does Loki play in that, opening the door to Phase 4? And then he just wrote at the end, paperweights.
Yeah.
I know.
The fact that they're using them as paperweights.
Mad,
I can't wait to see how powerful these guys are going to turn out to.
Well, with the Eternals coming as well, like it's got to up its game, hasn't it? So.
Yeah, the fact that the Eternals haven't seen it as being important enough to step in over Thanos.
Yeah.
Now makes because we sat there, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, saying what's coming? How could they not have stepped in?
Yeah.
And the fact they're obviously going to be on the same sort of level as the TVA.
Yeah,
I would guess.
You'd think.
Yeah.
Then we had Atna Roster, who said, oh my god of mischief, what an opening episode. I have theories already, and I think the multiverse is connected to Loki as well as Wanda.
Yeah.
So excited for the next episode. I agree. Big time. Then we've got Lee at Crosby71. I really enjoyed it. Watched it twice in case I missed something. So did we. And rewound it and paused it.
And still missed loads.
And still
probably.
missed stuff. And then we've also got one from Geeky Nate. Theory for this week. There are more than one variant of Loki. They all stem from this Loki we're watching and are at different betrayal points. This Loki, however, will end up doing good and being resurrected into Kid Loki, which means that all of this was meant to happen.
I like that I mean, we just said obviously like different variants of Loki all being the bad guys, but I like the fact that they're all different, potentially all different points at where he's betrayed.
Yeah,
Owen Wilson. But then I'm a little bit like, would the Ravonna Renslayer let him keep doing this? If he'd already lost 12 Lokis, it's gonna be like, no, you're not doing another one. Yeah. You're not having another go, and you just let him reset. I like it though. It'd be good if that was the case.
And then we also had one from Facebook, Sean, who said, don't know if it's likely, but I'd love there to be some sort of way to link or fuse him with our timelines, Loki. Be a shame to lose all that character growth since the first Avengers. Now, actually, I think he'd put that before the episode aired.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we did get the character growth that we were all hoping for, to be fair.
Yeah.
And that's kind of happened quite quickly, so we'll see.
Amazing.
You ready for my theory?
Yeah, go on. Oh, right. I know your theory.
You do know my theory.
Although it sounds like you've added something to it on your phone. He's written it down on his phone.
I didn't want to forget anything.
Wrong. It's got to be right. It's okay. That good.
So, what if the hooded figure that we saw at the end was Wanda?
Love it. Hopefully.
Because obviously the last time we saw her properly was as she's leaving Westview with the hood and the cloak and everything, apart from obviously checking out for the boys. Yeah. What if she's come to look for her sons? What if this is her travelling between multiverses, which we know in the comics that she can end up doing and things like that. Yeah. But they're being held by Lady Loki. Yeah. Who is in fact working for Mephisto. Yeah. Okay. It's a stretch because Mephisto's in it, but yeah. Yeah, yeah. But I don't think we're going to see Mephisto at any point. I think it's going to be, because obviously it's a multiverse, but there tends to be kind of the same trend with characters and things like that. Yeah. So what if the way Loki was working for Thanos in the first Avengers, so we didn't really see him? What if Lady Loki is working for Mephisto and this is her kind of journey? Yeah. So as I say, I don't think we'll meet him. I think that would be kind of later in the phase in general. Yeah. But I think this might be the kind of slow introduction, the way they did with Thanos. Yeah. And then obviously things like the clock and all that kind of stuff. What do you think for him to be like the big bad, the next Thanos? Yeah, that'd be quite good. But I think I don't know. I don't necessarily think it'll just be him. But I think he'll be taking advantage of another event that's happening. Yeah, yeah. Which will make it worse. Kind of like becoming the Loki. Yeah, basically. But added to that, you said about that woman being in all 6 episodes. What if she's Lady Loki? What if he's already met her through his timeline and not known? Well, that's not the actress who I think is playing Lady Loki. However, you would know what Lady Loki would look like, for example. Like, upon seeing her, she's like, she's Lady Loki. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what if she's got kind of a generic lookalike? Because Loki shapeshifts. Yeah, yeah. That's one of Loki's things. So what if he shapeshifts and puts himself as somebody who is unrecognisable? Yeah, maybe. To everybody. And maybe that's why he doesn't recognise. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Because if you think about it, when you look at that episode, he's like hijacked the plane and stuff, hasn't he? And does she look scared, or does she look cool as a bloody cucumber? Yeah. Because she looked cool as hell. Maybe he just flashed his abs. Maybe. But maybe. Maybe I like it. That's what it is. I like it. Hopefully this is going to work. This is going to be right. And we're not going to have another Isaiah Bradley. Maybe. Rolling up with the shield and saving Sam, because that was disappointing. I know, yeah. I think it'd be great if we did get Mephisto. I do think that Marvel are just straight. They know full well what they're doing by putting the devil on the stained glass window. 100%. Oh, that was the other thing as well, because I said I didn't even write this bit down, but Lady Loki will also have the horns, and so would Wanda. Because Wanda's got a helmet thing. Yeah, that's not a helmet. It's like a tiara, but not a tiara. Yeah, tiara. Tiara, not a Toyota. But yeah, so maybe if that kid's only seen kind of a shadow of, rather than actually seeing it face to face, and has just gone, that's what it looks like. That's what it looked like with the horns, yeah. So that's my other amazing bit. Either way, I'm good with it. Yeah. Whether it's Lady Loki or Wanda, probably wrong, but probably it is what it is, isn't it? Yeah. Fingers crossed. Should we wrap up? Yes, let's. So if you want to get in touch with us and give us some theories and thoughts for next week's episode, you can get in touch with us on all the socials. So we're on Twitter @Superhero Thing. We're on TikTok @Superhero Thing as well. Don't get in touch with us on there, but if you just want to watch Anthony's funny videos, they're not all funny. Some of them are just good, and some are just informational. Some are just informative. Is what I meant. Oh my God, hate my life.
Informational, it works better. We're on Facebook, so just look for that superhero thing on Facebook and on Instagram. On Facebook, there's also the Facebook group, so you can go on there. Me and Anthony are on there all the time. We get a lot of people talking about the theories and the thoughts on there as well. So join the group. You can have a chat with us about that and talk about what theories and what we think is going to happen. Alternatively, you can just go to thatsuperherothing.com. All the socials are on there. There's also a contact us page where you can leave us a voice message. So if you want to leave us one of your theories or thoughts on there, we can include it in the podcast, or we'll try and figure out.
Done one in ages, have we?
We've not done one for ages. Please, somebody leave us one.
It'd be good.
I can't remember how to include them in the podcast.
We get bored of our own voices.
Yeah, I get proper fed up of talking to Anthony.
Oh, wow.
I don't really. Maybe.
It's very informational.
I have to listen to you 3 times when I edit the podcast. Also, if you do enjoy the podcast, it'd mean a lot to us if you would consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, and if you can leave a review on there, that'd be absolutely amazing. And then next week, obviously, we're doing Loki episode 2. Yeah. So let us know your thoughts and theories on it now, what you think's coming, and then again, as soon as you've watched the episode when it comes out next Wednesday, get straight onto Twitter or Facebook and let us know what you think.
We'll try and include what we can.
We will try and include what we can indeed. Other than that, though, I think that's us. So from me, thanks very much for listening. See you next week.
Cheers, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.